Wait a minute. Maybe I'll just skip the intro music and we'll just go live straight away. Seeing as the men have already hopped over the initial com from the ACAT, I'm joined by Neil in the commentary booth. Good to have you, Neil.
Hello.
Hey, and we've also got James. He has hopped in and he's pedaling away. I don't know if the seas have already started. Possibly, I think they're starting about a minute. Oh, he says they have. So we're going to try and hop around and see the different cats. You can see that all of the four A's who are in this race are all in it together, which is lovely to see. And if possible, oh, Zwift is being nice. That's good. Let's see if we can just hop in with someone from the bees. And they are just hitting the climb. So we'll try and capture all of the...
Sorry. Let me exit.
I can just quickly meet you. It's all good. So we're just here with the bees as they've hit the climb, and you can see pretty much everyone is together still. And yeah, we are going. All things going well. We are going to be able to switch between all of the cats for all of the climbs. Please, no one go completely hellfire and and close the gaps too quickly. Look at those snazzy glasses, by the way. Very, very nice. So the bees are looking pretty comfortable. I reckon everybody from the bees is going to be fine. I imagine after this bit of climb, they're going to come together. Although it is getting a little bit stretched out here. So if you are a little bit further back, possibly you'll be a bit worried here. Hard to say, but it looks like it's coming back. Look at this. This is a dreamy team time trial right now. Lovely work from the bees. Let's try and hop into the C's and see them on the climb. Who are we going to find? James, and they've just hit the climb. Damn, this is almost professional. I see Francis has joined me in the chat.
I try.
Well.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Well, you have succeeded, I'm afraid.
So it's working. Perfect.
It is. Just as the C's hit the climb, the C's have got the biggest pack. There's 9 riders in total. So this is possibly the most competitive. Have you got a favorite in the C category? Francis?
Yes. I think Sheridan has been talking about it quite a lot on the Discord server, so pressure's on him. But my favorite is probably the Swiss Remo.
I mean, Sheridan was looking for some tactics.
Yeah.
Did you DM him? You said you might DM him with some tactics.
No, I didn't. Unfortunately, I don't really know him as a rider, so I guess last minute DS in the ear might not be the best strategy.
That's fair enough. My cat's decided to go mental, so
yeah, I figured that. That's all right.
Shut up, Mabsy.
That's all right.
Well, you can see that Lacoste here has put in a big effort up the first climb, which is pretty good to see. 7-second gap. It's that's a tough one though if you want to go on a breakaway, because you know, it's a 38.4 kilometer race.
It is a long race and with a lot of climbing. Thing is, I see James in the stream now, and if I'm not mistaken, James has won a lot of chase race as well. So I wouldn't consider him not a favorite. So he might be able to pull something.
Maybe. I'm going to bring Neil back in. Had a bit of echo going on, but we're all sorted now. Feel free to jump in. We're just currently in with the C's, and Lacoste has broken away. 6-second gap. I imagine that's going to come down pretty quickly because right behind him is this chasing group of riders. And yeah, they all seem pretty comfortable, to be honest. There is 8 of them there, so I don't think they're going to be too worried about Lacoste. They're probably a little bit happy, I think, to see him putting in such a big effort so early on, and they're not going to feel pressured to chase him down at all. And They're looking at the power they're putting out. He's doing 3.1 watts per kilo. They're only doing 2.7 behind. So what do you think about this early attack, Neil?
Yeah, is it foolish or not? I don't know.
It feels foolish, but
We'll see.
the proof is going to be in the pudding. It's still only 6 seconds. It's going to have to open up a considerable gap if it's going to stick. I'm going to hop in and just see if we've got some...
The gap is already closing, by the way. So it's going from 6 to 5 and probably 4 soon.
Well, there's Paul. Paul's not doing anything at the moment. Paul, get racing. There's still a chance. So in the D race, we've got Tom, Simon, and Verena here. So it's a much smaller group in the Ds. Still a little bit of a gap, though.
Little gap.
Yeah, a little bit of a gap opening up. And Cat's still going mental. Thanks, Mabsy. God's sake, Cat!
The cat's
Stop
hungry.
it. I will throw this squeezy gherkin at her. She's not careful. Stress gherkin. Yeah, you watch it, lady. All right, well, Simon's here. They're just TTing up here. So we'll come back and check in on the Ds. They look like they're doing fine. Verena is just 1 second behind, but she's looking fine. Fair play to her, racing in with the guys as well. We are going to catch some of the women's racing as well. And I can just see that the B women have just set off. And so we will switch over to them when they hit the climb, which is going to be any second now. So let me just switch screens and slightly lower streaming quality off my other laptop for some reason, but at least we can still watch the women. And they are just hitting the base of the forward com. And yeah, it's good to see more of them there. We haven't had as many riders in the women's races, which has been a bit of a shame. But it's good to have a bit of a 4-up race. So the podium is not set. You know, they're still going to have to race it out. No time trial today. So we've got B's and C groups here. Any favorites from this group? We're currently watching Amy Young.
Amy. That's my favorite for today.
Yeah, Amy was riding really strong in that. We had that Emmy B race, and she was pulling me all the way around. I felt guilty sitting on her wheel.
No, Amy's the favorite for sure.
Cool, yeah, and of course, she's very active in social media and was in the Zwift advert.
True.
I don't know if is alongside Matthew van der Poel. Is that true? Wow. Kind of, I think. We'll just say Matthew van der Poel got to ride on Zwift with Amy. That's how I would phrase it. But it looks like it is all together up the climb currently, although there is a little bit of a gap, but nothing significant currently. Hopefully, they can all stick together and make the race a bit more exciting because they've got a long way to go still. So you don't want to get distanced on the first climb, but likewise, if you're in a smaller race, you kind of also don't want to distance everybody else either, because then you're out solo. So almost you'd want to, if you're feeling strong, if it was me tactically, Sheridan, if you're listening, don't go on the attack too soon. Show your cards a little bit, but then save something because the harder climbs are coming later on. What
happened to Becca? Could she not race?
I think Becca wanted a lie-in. I think for her, I'm not sure of her time zone, but it was about 7 a.m. So the thing is, when we set up the time for the final, we didn't know if we would have, APAC riders as well. So the only time which works between APAC, EMEA, and US is about 4 p.m. So that's why we kind of went for that. So, but I mean, we're just talking about that gap. There already is a gap, and it's quite a considerable one. It is 5 seconds. So it's going to be interesting just to see what actually happens there. So we will watch Amy come over the com. We'll hop back and just see how the C women are doing, and then we'll hop forward and jump in with the A's again from the men. So Amy has gone over the line. Let's hop in with the women in the C cat just to see where they're at. I know that Jill, pretty sure Jill should be racing.
2:28. They're taking it steady, aren't they?
Here's Jill. Yeah, so I could see there's Jill. And got a couple of riders just up the road. Carolina and Carrie as well. So the three of them, they've just hit the climb. Hopefully they can all also stick together so that it's not too strung out. Again, if I was Carolina or Carrie, I'd be thinking the same. I'm going to wait a little bit and not put it all out there on the first climb. Plus, you know, Jill's such a she's a legend of the coalition. So I'd be like,
true legend. She's a true legend.
Yeah. Got to keep Jill on my tail. Maybe even make her do a bit of work, you know, out on the road. So, but very cool to see. And I don't know, can we get a better look of Jill's headwear?
Do you know if the Amens are have started the Epic KOM climb or about to?
They should be Titans Grove. So
okay.
I'm going to hop on over to the A now.
Whoa.
It's very much a case of jumping around all of the cats.
Boom.
It's going to be a really good race, the A's, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. So let's...
It's pretty much a rematch of yesterday's race, right?
Yeah.
We'll see if...
I realised I've been watching Jill race, but you haven't.
Exactly.
So...
Yeah. That's all right.
That's fine. I mean, it's been appearing in the little screen, so
that's okay.
It's okay.
So what's the situation now in the A race? They're all still together, more or less?
This is it. We're in the A race now, so everybody is still together. Although saying that, just up the road, there is a bit of a gap. So 10-second lead. We're at the very kind of foothills of the climb.
Oh, that's interesting.
So Tolyanik has already got those 10 seconds. Yeah.
So Tolyanik is ahead.
Yeah.
And the other three guys, little gap here and there. They should work together and maybe close it before it's too late.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, it's early days. I'm very sad to not have Dan Pan's
in-game stream, right?
I love to see him sweating away, suffering. We do have James, by the way. James has set up his wheels on the wall as a bit of a tribute to Dan Pan. So
yeah,
you know, we do have that, you know, in the stream. We do have the tribute acts. So there is that. By the way, whilst we were just nattering away, the gap's come down. So it does look like there's a bit of a chase happening right now. But Dan Panda's off the back. Come on, Dan.
It's early. It's early for him. Remember, he's on the West Coast, the American West Coast, so it's 7 a.m., 7 something.
I only have the highest expectations from Dan. So, you know, I think he's going to make it back on. By the way, I managed to just make myself a coffee in my coalition mug, which James did make for me, and it's always in rotation. Nothing stronger today because again it was also 4 p.m. for me, too early to be drinking. So Dan's made it on.
Yeah,
I'm glad to see. I did think that gap's gone down to 3 seconds.
Yeah, they have to work together. I mean, with the performance they did yesterday, Bassett and Talbot, especially on the final few meters, it was like 20 meters maybe. It was so close. They have to work together, and we're in for a great finish. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. What happened to David? Did David not race? I thought he was going to be here.
David did not race, unfortunately, yesterday. Yeah, so it's all going to be played out on the Epic KOM because honestly, these guys can climb. I don't know Tolyanik that much, but
do we?
I think so. Yeah.
Volcano,
Titans, and then Volcano.
Oh, the Volcano. Okay, sorry, my bad. I thought it was the three sisters, but then I figured out it was the three little sisters.
Yeah, it's the wee little sisters. So, which I think is better. It still means you don't have to be an out-and-out climber to win this. You could be a puncher,
Yeah,
as they like to say. I think it makes it a little bit more open. That gap's gone out again to 4 seconds. So, Tolyanic's still putting out nearly 5 watts per kilo. And the guys behind are just doing 4 watts per kilo in the draft, more like 3 watts per kilo. I think that's probably sensible. We've still got a long way to go. We've still got another 25 kilometers, and that we're not even up this climb yet. So I think they're playing it a little bit more savvily. I'm going to pretend that's a word. I think it's a word. Slight little break, though, here. So
back to
I don't
5
know.
seconds.
Are they trying to drop Dan Pan? Because he's the one at the back being a bit slow to react, I think. So he's probably suffering a little bit. I'm going to give him a ride on there just to give him that little extra boost.
They're playing the podium, actually. I guess it's the same situation in the A men's race than the women's B race. It's only 4 playing the podium. Very exciting race. Bigger fields are what? Men B's and men C's?
Yeah. I mean, the C's is the biggest. So it's cool. We're going to have a little bit different dynamics in each different race, depending on how many riders we might drop. But everyone pretty much seemed to make it over the first climb, all together. Don't think we really lost anyone. So
it was interesting yesterday because Matt Bassett was writing all over Discord that he has a lot of experience in the ladder league races, which is mostly a 5v5. So you face another team with only 5 riders. So you kind of, you play it differently. It's another game. It's not ZRL kind of race. And you kind of, maybe you can do a breakaway, which was kind of what he did yesterday. So I guess from all this experience, I know Dan has done a few as well. Not Talbot and definitely not Tolyanik. So let's see how this one, plays out, because in the end, they all have the power. They can climb. You can still draft on the Volcano KOM. Very curious to see this.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it's just an ITT from Tolyanik.
Yeah,
and he's opened up the gap again. So it was 3 seconds. It's gone back out to 6-7 seconds. I think maybe he's just trying to get out of sight, out of mind. I mean, he's never fully going to be out of mind for the other riders, because they're going to know that he's up the road.
Yeah, he's on the limit, man. 189 beats per minute right now. That's quite the load to carry for another 25K.
Yeah, definitely. He is going to get a bit of respite after he gets over this climb. But if he wants to keep that gap open, he's going to have to keep on pushing. So, definitely a difficult one. But currently looking at, what's that gap come down to? Well, the power-ups have been dropped, and that gap's been decimated. Talbot dropped the feather, and he's going to fly past Tolyanik. Dan Pan back in the distance. Suddenly, it's all kicking off right here on the Titan Com. And we've really got a race on our hands now. And Dan Pan has really got to react. He's dropped his feather power up. He's going to have to really dig deep now to try and bridge over. He's been yo-yoing off the back the entire race. Can he do it? That's the question.
Well, he's doing it. He's still pushing 500s.
He's still got a little bit left in his heart box. He's up to 180 BPM, so he's not far off. He's clawing it back. Luckily, he does know that the other guys have used their power-ups, so it does look like he is going to bring it back.
Yeah, he is.
But again, is that another match that he's had to burn just to bridge over?
Well, at least 2 climbs done. Now it's, wait and see, stay in the draft, save yourself a little, and wait up until the volcano, and then you just unleash and give it all. We'll see.
So Dan Pan then's just gone straight through the other riders. I do not blame him. Go over the top first. He's going to get the Com jersey.
Perfect.
Bish, bash, bosh. Very nice job from Dan Pan. Right, let's hop in with the Bees and see how they're getting on in the climb. And And here we are. And is there any gaps? Well, yes, there are quite a few gaps, actually.
Wow.
So we're currently in with Villa, who is head of the race. And he has got one other rider. He's got Riedbrook behind him, 2 seconds back. And then
Christian. Wow.
yeah. And then the main group just here. So I think, again, they're probably going to be thinking about how they can conserve a little bit of energy. I feel like they're not pushing super hard. I mean, look at from Barnhart here, 151 BPM, not pushing too hard, I think. So this seems like a really controlled effort, much more metered, and probably thinking we can claw this back and save a bit of energy. And even if we don't catch them, possibly we'll catch them on the descent. And even then, those guys are going to be dangling out the front, and we can probably catch them on the final com. So should they have let the other two riders go, or is this clever riding from the main group?
I'm curious to hear Neil about this, because he knows a little bit, these guys a little bit more than me.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested that Andrew's not around. Did Andrew couldn't race the final? Andrew Todd, no? He was the out-and-out favourite for me.
Yeah, Andrew wasn't able to race the final.
No, so
I'm curious to see Aiden, because he's a wise fox. Now I see him sitting in the draft. He's not pulling. He knows the three other guys with him are doing the job. The gap is not too big. I mean, Ville is alone, but as soon as they close on Riedbrook, they are now 5 guys chasing one with a climb to go, enough kilometers.
Aiden's got the weakest watts per kilo, I think. So he's strategically, he just needs to draft and get over the climb.
Exactly.
He's got the strongest sprint. So if he gets over Volcano, he'll be your man, I think, if he's got the legs. But
Ville is doing crazy watts right now, and the gap is opening, because it was 17 seconds last time I spoke, which was 10 seconds ago, and now 22 seconds closing in.
And he's only at 160 BPM as well. So
interesting.
Yeah, he's going for it because Aiden stung him in the first round on Breakaway Bray, so he doesn't want that to happen again, I think.
Well, there you go. Villa is over the top. That was the little piles of rocks which indicate the com. So he's got the com jersey. He has got the philosophical intermediate points. And the guys behind, 20 seconds. So you've got Riedbrook just coming over. And then, this main group not far behind. So it is going to be, I think, this main chasing group. So, the peloton, as it were, versus Villa. So Villa's going to have himself a time trial pretty much. I think after that hard effort, you're probably going to want to try and make it stick, right?
Yeah, of course. It has to stick. It has to. Otherwise, it's a burned match for quite nothing. And you have 5 guys now working together that have maybe you as a target. And that's not good in a short or small peloton race like this one.
So here we are. We got James. He's just off of the front here. He's doing it all for the live stream right now.
Yeah.
And looking pretty comfortable. He's dropped his feather.
That
was well timed. All right, let's go. Is he going to attack, or is he? Oh, yes, he is. There he is. He's out the saddle.
That's it. Come on, James. Wow, 700, 650. Come on, bring it up.
Well, that is the attack. It's happening now. I think he's probably a little bit worried about Gary as well in the back if it does come down, to a final sprint. So this is possibly wise from James.
That's good.
I think he's caught them napping a little bit. And let's just hop back and just see how everybody else is reacting.
So Kenny Polonsky right now. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting a little bit pulled apart. I mean, there's 2 riders up the road. Gary's in this main group. Are they going to just, do the sensible thing, maybe stick together, or is somebody further back going to push it on? It looks like it's Gary who wants to push it on. Polanski's just kind of sat on his wheel. And this could be a critical moment. Interestingly, Letzman is also at the back of this group. He's just dropped his feather power up. Is he going to try and bridge over? I mean, if we're basing it from his the sprinting, Letzman's got to be a favorite as well for this race. But he's pretty much just trying to sit comfortable by the looks of things. He's let this main move go. And but it's a real balance for this group because they've got so many more riders. If they let too many people go up the road, that's the entire podium gone.
Yeah.
So
it's a 7-second gap now, right?
Yeah, 7 seconds. They can see the riders up the road. The question is how far are they going to let this gap open up? It's not one single rider off the road. There's 3 riders now. James says in the chat, happy to work. Glad to hear it. He looks like he's working from the live stream right here.
They've got a chance with 3 of them.
They've got a really good chance. And if you are one of the other 2 riders, you've got to be thinking to yourself, well, if we do work together, that is a podium sorted. But Letzman, I think he's reacted. He's dropped the rest of the group. He's maybe listening to the live stream. And he's thought, no, I'm not going to hang around. And probably this is a really smart move by Letzman because the group behind hasn't reacted. They're also splitting up. He's going to bridge over. And then 3 becomes 4, and he's possibly going to ride through this group. But if these 4 stick together, now it's serious. Now it's serious.
Yeah. Now the race has taken another turn. The gap has to stick, that's for sure.
But those other 3 riders behind I think they've made a mistake here by not jumping on his wheel.
Yeah.
Because the other guys behind, they've reacted, and I feel like that's a massive missed opportunity for those 3 riders who are up the road. And if I was Letzman, I'd be furious, to be honest, to have bridged over and then to kind of just to not have
wasted. Wasted opportunity.
Really a massively wasted opportunity. So very interesting to see tactics on the road not going as well as you would hope. Great news for Gary here. This is the best thing that could have happened to Gary.
And Sheridan.
Yeah, and Sheridan. So there's still a bit of a gap. There's still 3 seconds. So it is 3 versus 3 here. So there's not guaranteed that they're going to make it back, but alarm bells are going to be ringing. So we're just going to hang with the C's for a little bit longer just to see how this shapes up. And then we will just pop over and just see how the women are doing. And then we'll see where the A's are at. We did what? I don't know. Are these 3 riders going to make it back on? It's really hard to say right now. Predictions, Neil, Francis.
I think Kenny and Remo are in a weird spot right now, so I'm more concerned about them maybe dropping from the chasing group. So far you have Gary and Sheridan together trying to bridge a 4-second gap. There's 4 guys ahead, and it's still a rocky part now in the Titans Grove forest. So it's
the majority is the front. So I think it favors the front group, doesn't it?
It definitely does. But look, Gary's again. I think he's thinking, I've got to bridge over. It hasn't come back naturally, and he's putting a big dig here to make it over. Very wise move, I think. And he's
very
possibly
good,
going to fly through these riders as well. He's got the momentum. Very smart decision there by Gary, I think. So Sheridan also just hopping over. So I think that's going to be a decisive split there. I'm not sure if Spears and Roth and Palansky are going to have it in their legs. Woo, to make it over.
Yeah.
Possibly Spears is. But I think that might be lights out for Roth and Palansky. So
I think so too.
They've dropped 2 of the riders, and very interesting in with the C's. Right, let's just hop over into the women's race before we go back to the A's. And
wow, huge gap now.
Yeah, so yes, Borowick is off the back of this group, and Amy is there with Beaver. So
they're all still pushing, there's that they're still putting out some good numbers. Everyone.
Absolutely. Like nobody is taking it easy. You can see Amy's heart rate is 172 BPMs. still racing very hard there. And yeah, at the end of the day, there can only be one coalition champion per racing category. So it doesn't matter if there's just two of you. Okay, percentage wise, probability wise, you have a good chance, but you still got to beat the other person. So and you're not going to get as much draft. You can see the two riders here riding side by side. There's still an opportunity to attack, and if the other person doesn't react, then it's not going to make a massive impact on your race. So it's a really different racing dynamic when you've got two. It's not necessarily easier by any means. So in fact, I'd say it's much harder when there's just two of you. Okay, less people to worry about, but less chance to draft. So super interesting. We're just going to hop on over to the men, just because they're just heading onto the com. So let's switch back to the guys here in the A's, and they are back here.
And Toljanik is behind.
He's off.
Wow, what happened? That was probably during the descent.
Yeah, that is a surprise.
So
12 seconds. It's recoverable.
It is.
He can definitely make it back, but looking at his heart rate, he's probably been working pretty hard to try and bridge over. I mean, he was just coming down from 160, 170 beats per minute. But he's doing 4 watts per kilogram. Bassett's only doing 3.5. So the gap is coming down. But is it too big? Is it too little, too late? We'll have to see.
They didn't start the climb yet. And what I don't like about this situation now is that this KOM is highly draftable for most of it. So with them working together ahead, he will have to put massive watts out. That's for sure.
Definitely. It's down to 10 seconds. He can see the riders ahead. So still in his mind, he's going to be thinking, I can do this. And for all intents and purposes, he can. All it takes is for the other riders to just look at each other and just sit up a bit, and you can see the gap's coming down 9 seconds now. So yeah, this is a big one for Toljanik right now. We're going to jump ahead to these 3 riders, and you can see already, like, how hard are they working? 140 BPM. I don't think they're too stressed about Toljanik coming back. I can understand that as well. You'd probably be thinking to yourself, well, he's had to work so hard off the back. Who cares if he makes it back onto this group? He's already burnt several matches. No problem for us. We'll get our recovery now and then attack on the climb. So that's what I would be thinking. Wouldn't be too stressed about it. And Toljanik's probably, well, he's breathing out of his arse right now to try and get back on. So bless him. Neil, have you got a favourite for this final climb?
For the climb or for the finish?
Well, just for the climb. Do you think these 3 riders are going to stay together, or is someone going to attack?
Matthew and Mark are both pretty good climbers. I mean, Matthew just climbing every day in Wales. And
that's true.
It doesn't surprise me with Anthony. He's much more of a TTer. He was TTing a lot, even in FRR. That's his style. I think he just likes his own pace, and he knows that he won't have a chance probably in the sprint against. Certainly, well, Dan would be the hot favourite in a sprint, I would have thought. Because he came second in FRR, and they were all in the same category. They're all dragon category in FRR, so they're evenly matched.
I think Matt's best chance is to punch the little inclines and try to create a gap with Mark, because Mark is the engine right there. So maybe that climb, it doesn't suit him that much, or as much as Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, Toljanik did look like he was clawing it back, but the gap's just opened up again. It was 6 seconds. It's gone 7, 8 seconds. I think it's over for Toljanik right now. The proof will be in the pudding. Dan Pan, he looked like he was getting dropped there. So he's done very well. He did really well to get back on to the group in that first climb. Maybe his legs are still good and he just was caught napping a little bit. But he's looking pretty good here. So we'll see. Is anybody going to attack on the last section where it gets really steep, or are they all going to be Matthew? Are they going to be happy to just ride together and go for the sprint?
No,
Very,
they'll
very
want to
interesting.
drop down on the final climby bit.
Well, look at them riding in tandem here. Oh, in
Oh,
sync. They all
beautiful.
yeah, that was beautiful. Synchronized tucking.
So Reese, you're telling us that if it plays out the way you just said it, we are in for another photo finish like yesterday.
Yeah, possibly. But it looks like Bassett does not want that to happen. He's attacked on this little section. Maybe
there you go.
smelling weakness in Dan Pan. They weren't
There
happy
you go.
riding free abreast. Maybe there was a driver who came along and beeped at them and said, "You can't ride like that."
A few meters now. A few meters.
Yeah, they're really close. So it flattens out here. You can get a little bit of momentum. Dan Pan doing some good racecraft here.
Yeah.
Before they swing
power up from Bassett. Talbot.
Talbot says, no, you're not coming anywhere near me. This is my race. And then it is Bassett who's reacted. Dan Pan a little bit. He's always just half a step behind, it seems, when it comes to reacting. I think there's no question about his power or his legs, but his reaction times have been a little bit slow, I think. So he's had to do a bit extra work, but he's only doing 4.8 watts per kilo. Bassett's doing 7 to bridge over to Talbot, who's doing 5. It's going to take a bigger effort if he's going to actually make it over now.
Yep, power up from Matthew as well.
It's interesting that Mark's not gone for disc wheels, so he's obviously trying to maybe make a move at the end of the volcano.
That's true, but he's gone for the least dynamic, aerodynamic haircut. So...
Does that affect the CDA, the haircut?
I think that the TT helmet does affect CDA. I think that's the only helmet which actually does. At least that used to be the case. So yeah, I think afro and visor combination would theoretically be very I think a visor is very unaerodynamic, regardless of what haircut you've got. Just imagine how much air is being caught underneath your under the peak. But there you go. Talbot is I'm smashing it up this climb, and looking at his heart rate, he still seems pretty comfortable. But Bassett as well doesn't seem too phased either. So I think this is going to be between these two. And Dan Pan is 6 seconds back now. Not sure he can make it back. So the only way he'll make it back, I think, is if these two decide to sit up. That seems unlikely.
No, they're not going to.
Wow. We're in for an epic finish for sure. Up the KOM, and then after, if there's a little break, maybe you can still chase it on the descent if you're going all in. Like if you're pushing 4, 3.5 on the descent, maybe you can close any gap there.
Yeah, right. So they're on to the, whatever you call this, massive broadwalk section, which is always kind of like a visual indicator that you're nearing the end.
Yeah.
I know I'm always very happy when I start hitting this bit. I have the sound effect turned off when I'm Zwifting, but if I had it on, you'd hear the sound of the tires. And I have a Wahoo kicker, so I don't have a tack, so I can't even feel it. But in your head, you can still sort of feel it because you have this association with it, so that you know how good it feels to be on that section and nearly be there.
How are the bees doing, Reese?
What's that?
How are the bees doing?
The bees. We're going to watch these guys just go over the peak, and then we'll hop over to the bees. I can just say I've got the women on my other screen. I can see that Amy and Beaver are still together. So we're going to watch these guys just head on over the top, and then we will hop on over to the bees. And I'm queuing it up right now. It'll be very interesting to see how they are doing.
Talbot is opening up the engine now. 400, 420.
Poor Dan, that's 15 seconds behind now.
Yeah, I think it's over for Dan and Tolyanik. I wonder if
Talbot
you're Dan. If you're Dan right now, are you going to be thinking to yourself, maybe I should wait for Tolyanik and try and form a pact and work together? I almost be tempted by that because at the end of the day, okay, there is a podium placed up for grabs, but at the end of the day, there's only one crown. So it's a gamble. Do I want third place, or do I want to try and throw all my cards down on the table and try and go for the go for the crown. So excellent riding there from Talbot and Bassett. It's going to be between these two, I think, unless there is some sort of pack further back. Let's hop in with the Bs then and see how they're getting on. We are here with Villa. Oh,
Wow.
he's got a minute.
That's over.
Serious.
This is over.
That is surprising. But they've let Villa get a minute here, and he's got a minute going to the base of this climb. That's going to be really hard to bring back. That is a surprise.
Wow. Solo break, and it's just sticking. Very, very well done.
Yeah.
Very nice. Let's just hop back then and just see what this chase group's doing. Oh, what's running through the minds of these guys right now? I mean,
come on.
I don't know. Their only option now is to go absolute hell for leather up this climb. But it doesn't look like that's what they're doing.
Wow. It's interesting. Niels is 9 seconds ahead. He's obviously wants to bridge, but nobody else wants to work with him.
Or maybe they can't, but I'm surprised. You know, they're all strong B riders. So it's not a question of ability. I think maybe it's just a tactical decision, and maybe it's a tactical error in this scenario, because I can't see them bringing back Villa, because the gap is just going out even more. It's 1 minute and 12. And really, this is the point in the race where they should be clawing time back on this climb.
Yeah, that's mental. 1:15 with what, 12 kilometers to go?
Yeah, very
done.
impressive.
Done.
I mean, and this bridge over here, Neil's only got 7 seconds off of the chase group. So,
yeah.
I don't think that is going to be enough.
Well, Christian has to follow the chase. I mean, guys should up on his wheels, close it right now before it's too late, because wow, they have to close 5 seconds every kilometers, more or less. It's a lot.
They don't look like they're going to do it. I mean, this is the spot where they should be doing it. Well, seeing as Villa is so far ahead, we'll just watch him a little bit, and then we'll head on over to the C's. I can see on my screen James there. He looks like he's grinding away, so I presume they're also on the climb. So we'll get ready to hop on over to them. Well, Villa's even dropping his feather power up, so just making it that little bit easier for himself.
How many seconds could a group of 6 or 7 get back on him on the descent, though? They could easily get 30 or 40 seconds as a big group, could they?
I mean, with the old racing dynamics, without a question, but with newer racing dynamics, I think that's less of a given, to be honest. They'll have to push pretty hard on the descent if they want to close it.
3.5 at least.
Yeah, let's hop in with the C's then and see how they're getting on. And Gary's, there's a gap here. So Gary as well, he's been distanced again. He's been yo-yoing off the back. Again, I would be worried about Gary in the final sprint. So the guys ahead are probably, thinking to themselves, this is our best chance to get rid of him for good on this climb. Because if we don't, then it's going to be very tough in the sprint. Give him a ride on. If you're watching the live stream, go give Gary a ride on. This is a critical part of the race for him. And the other riders are 9-10 seconds up the road. So they are just specks on the screen for him. So very tough. Let's hop ahead. So the main group are here and everybody is together on this section. So it's going to be very interesting. Are we going to see some attacks on this climb? I can see in the chat, Niels has jumped in to just say, you can do it, Gary. Come on, Gary. So everybody is cheering for Gary to bridge over. And here you go. Get up on screen. You can do it, Gary.
I feel like the C, if they stick together, they are bringing the champion in the bunch sprint.
I would absolutely be looking to attack here.
Well, they have to, because it's coming to an end now.
Yeah, but then the question is, how strong are they feeling? Because then it's still best part of 10 kilometers to the finish line. Neil, what are your thoughts on this this last climb in the race? Attack now or save it for the final sprint?
How far up are they? Are they halfway up now?
About halfway, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd be wanting to. Well, how many? 5 in the front group. If 2 or 3 get away, there's a chance of them staying. But if it's just, you wouldn't want to do it on your own. You'd want to pair up with somebody, wouldn't you?
I think there's 6, is there? Yeah, 6 of them.
Sheridan's doing really well, hanging on.
He didn't need Francis's tactics at all. He's
That's fine, but yeah, that's fine, honestly. But going to a bunch sprint, it's pretty random. Everybody can win this, pretty sure. They all have some decent sprints. The question is, do you really want to go to the limit?
Yeah.
Oh, look, James probably doesn't because he's bridged off the front. I can see is that Lacossa who's trying to bridge over, or is it Letzman? Well, there's a few feather pallets being dropped already. They've decided to use it now a bit earlier on in the climb just to make sure they don't get dropped. Interesting. Has James used his power up? I don't think he has. However, those guys are just going to ride past him. And it's all kicking off now on the climb. And however, if James does still have his power up, he could use it on the steepest bit of the climb and claw it back. It's not all over yet, but it is Lacossa currently who has made the main attack. And it was a attack from 3rd or 4th position. So nice move by him.
I just want to make sure that we're not, going through with the A's, like they're not closing on the finish line.
Yeah,
soon.
where are the
Because
A's
I
currently?
think their race might end sooner than expected.
Let's have a quick look, see where they are. I mean, they're still in the volcano.
Okay.
So they've got 3 kilometers to go. So we'll hop back to the C's to see them finish the climb, and then we'll go back to the A's as soon as they get over. So who was on the front? Lacoste.
He's just taken 10 seconds out of them there, by me.
Whoa! That's crazy.
The move. That is the move to do. Oh. Yeah, very well done.
Sheridan's dropped to 22.
Letzman's bridged over. He said, no, I think this is the move. And I think he's right, to be honest.
Yeah.
James, let's see. He's got his head down. He's grinding away. We can see him on our screens. I think he's just trying to keep a very smooth cadence, just try and meter his effort and just try not to burn too many matches. But I think he's going to have to do something pretty drastic to bridge over. So James, if you're listening, this is it, mate. You're going to have to go all in to bridge over. Think about the descent. You're going to get a bit of a break in the descent. He's out of the saddle now. He's been listening. He's on the live stream. He knows he's got to react. The gap is 12 seconds currently. So, this is the move. This is the move. It's James. His avatar's not out of the saddle. Come on, Avatar. Get out the saddle.
Who is the German rider with him? PH.
Philip. If he can work with Philip, they can maybe catch on the descent. 10 seconds is achievable, isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely
they have to work.
Achievable.
They have to work together right now.
Yeah.
Right, Philip's going to fly past James. James, get ready to react.
Let's go. Let's go. Up.
Yeah, don't let that gap open up. He's going to have that little symbol on his
Let's go.
2 meter gap. He's closed it. Perfect. Bit of draft.
Yeah. Stay there.
Now,
stay there and push.
It is 2 versus 2. Who is going to get it? You can just see the riders up the road. I am not sure if they are going to be able to do enough. The gap is currently 13 seconds.
You can see them.
Oh, God.
I mean, Letzman and Lacoste, they're not killing each other on this section. They're being pretty steady with their effort as they swing past this volcano, warming the left side of their bodies as they swing around here. So they're over the top. Are we going to see Philip and James are in the distance? The gap's opened up 15 seconds. These guys are on the flat. Oh, it's going to be very interesting. So we're going to head over back to the A's so that we can catch the end of their race. And we're going to start taking bets on who we think is going to get this win. Wow, Bassett's got a bit of a gap here. And he's got a 1 second gap.
And it ends right here, right? In the downtown?
I had the race down at 38.4 kilometers, but surely it finishes. Does it finish?
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
It has to finish
It's
downtown.
got to finish here.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's too far to the next one in the desert. So, I
It's
mean,
gonna be
Bassett's going for it. Talbot's
yeah.
dropped his aero power up. Talbot's dropped his aero power.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
wow.
my God. It could be heartache. It could be heartache. It looks like it is going to be heartache. Oh, no.
Oh.
He's responding.
He's responding, but it's
Let's
not,
go.
not enough.
Talbot with the winning move.
Whoa, that's
Wow.
big. Damn. Okay, let's hop back on over to the
Wow.
bees. Amazing finish there. I really was not sure
Wow.
who was going to get that.
Wow.
But,
That's a good payback for yesterday's dramatic finish.
wow.
My screen froze. Who won?
Mark Talbot.
Mark. Oh, well done, Mark.
So Villa's nearly got 2 minutes. So
It's
I think
insane.
it is all said and done in the B
Yeah.
category.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Let's just jump on over to the women then. We will watch the finish. We watch Villa come over the line. We'll give him a ride on. That is well deserved. Just swap the screen so we can just see a bit of the women's race. So here we've got Amy Young is currently in the lead.
Solo.
And solo. So she's got a 10-second gap now.
Wow.
So this looks like it could be a very easy win for her. But let's see. She's still got to keep that distance. And Beaver is closing the gap just as we start talking. So the gap's closed by another 2 seconds, another 3 seconds. So now it's only 7 seconds. So it's not all said and done. Amy's still got work to do. And very interestingly, if you look, Amy has got the Epic Com, and then Beaver has got the Titans Grove Com. So they're 1 apiece on the climbs, and the gap comes down to 5 seconds.
And they're still going uphill, right? So this is not over. Like right now, if you're spectating Vanessa, you can see Amy a few meters ahead. So if she holds the power, she will close that gap for sure.
Absolutely. So very interesting there. And,
2 seconds.
Yeah.
3.
Exactly.
Wow.
So
spicy finish in the women's race, spicy finish in the men's A race, and now the C race.
We're going to just watch Villa come over the line here, so that he's got something to put on his social media.
Insane.
Yeah, that's an epic ride. So
they're very strong.
Yeah. Untouched from Titans Grove.
Made a move and stuck with it, and
insane.
It has worked a treat there.
Yeah.
Very, very nice effort. Villa, if you're listening, maybe give us a little sprint, give us a little wave as you come over the finish. Do it for the cameras, because that is a comfortable win, nearly 2 minutes. And very, very nicely done by Villa. So all things going well, then Villa is going to be crowned your new category champion. So let's hop on over into the C's and just see.
For second place sprint, can we see who comes second?
No, there's a 2 minute gap. So
right.
Yeah, it's going to be a while till we get there. I can try and hop back in a minute just to hop in with the C's to see how they're doing. The gap's 20 seconds nearly. So they have not done enough to close the gap on this descent at all. So that is a real shame, I think, because it would have been great to have seen a 4-up sprint. Oh, okay. Now it's just corrected itself. Now it's 9 seconds.
Just halved.
Okay. Wow, that was impressive. They managed to halve it by doing absolutely nothing. So there is still a real chance that they can bring it back. I hope that James is onto the blower with Philip, saying, come on, sending him a direct message saying, we've got to work together to get this. There's still a chance for them, which makes it super interesting. And as I say, the gap comes down to 8. No, it goes back out to 9 seconds. It's yo-yoing.
Yeah.
Look, you can see them just in the background there. So it is not all over for these guys just yet. So very interesting. Let's try and hop back to the bees and just see if we can catch them on this final sprint. Let's see who's still in there. And come on. Here we are. So we're going to get this final sprint. Oh, that was good. And who is it who's coming over the line? Sanderson is going to be the one.
Really?
He's quickly being chased by Hayden, is it? Yeah, so there we go. Sanderson got over for third. Nicely done there. Right, hop back in. Well, let's just see how the D's are doing. Let's just see how Simon's in there. And so they've just got onto the climb here. Simon's on the climb. He's also doing a bit of a solo TTT. Solo TT, not a TTT. But I guess it is a TTT. Everybody's in coalition. So it's a solo TTT. So he's on there. So he's just got to keep it pretty easy going now. And he'll keep that 1 minute gap. So this looks like this is Simon riding himself into a D category championship title. So that is very nice to see. Good work, Simon. Let's hop on over to see how the women are doing. Well, there's just as I say that, there's some attacks going on, and it's Beaver who's attacked. Attacked. She caught Amy and she's attacked. Wow.
Right at the top, steepest part. That's where your power output pays the most.
Wow.
So pretty cool.
Whoa. You've got to be kicking yourself if you're Amy there because she had a really good gap there. And she's let Beaver get 5 seconds on her. So going to be very interesting to see how that finishes up. So let's hop on back to the C's and we're going to see how they finish. Are the chasing 2 riders going to have done enough to close the gap? It's going to be very interesting.
I want to see James.
Seconds.
I want to see James close that gap and win live with us in his live stream. We have to have that.
We have to. So, but saying that, he's let a little gap open up there. The gap's gone up again to the Lacoste Letzman group. It is still 10 seconds, and there's not much tarmac left for them.
They're not on the screen. If you're watching the C, we're still seeing the women. No worries. That happens.
Yeah, too many screens. Right. Well, it's really, the gap's really yo-yoing quite a lot here. It was 10 seconds. Now it's back down to 8 seconds. Yes, really interesting. So
come on, James. Okay. Come on, James.
Who, Neil, Francis, who's your money on?
I really wish James closed that gap, but if it doesn't happen, I guess Lacoste is going to win it.
Okay, you've gone for Lacoste. Neil, what are your thoughts?
I'll go for, is it Sebastian? I think he's been riding quite strong. I don't know enough about their sprinting, but
I think Letzman looked pretty good yesterday. So I'm going to put my money on him, but I'd love to see these 2 riders behind James. 6 seconds now.
Wow.
James and Philip, they're only 6 seconds. A real chance they can make it over. Of course, we've got James here in the live stream as well. He's grinding away, doing everything he can to try and close it. It says 6 seconds. It looks a lot bigger in the live stream, though. So who is to say whether they're going to close it or not? But it's going to be bloody close as we head towards the finish. They're going to swing right. There's a tiny little incline
and then
here.
They'll have to sprint on top.
Yeah. And then they're going to swing left. They're going to have a little bit of a decline as they can see the finish line almost ahead of them. They're nearly there.
That's a short recovery if you push on that little incline because the sprint is right there.
Yeah, it's 7 seconds now, so I'm not sure they're gonna bring it back. They really needed to close it there. Letzman being quite savvy here, sat in the wheels, If I was him, I wouldn't do any more turns on the front. But if they start looking at each other, that might open the door for the two riders behind. So they've got to be careful here. They can't be too catty and coy with each other. They're going to have to go all out. And Letzman is back on the front. So we've got ourselves a serious scratch race right now.
Ooh.
And I think it is going to be between these two because the gap's gone up to 9 seconds. One of these two is going to be your coalition champion. And let's see how it all pans out in the final sprint. Going to be very, very interesting. Who is going to make the first move? Well, they're pretty much side by side. Well, Lacoste has shown he's only got a draft power up. And he's not using it as strategically as he could do because he's hopped on the front. But Letzman's only got a feather power up, which is pretty much useless in a sprint. So it's really going to be down who has got the most legs.
He's coming back.
Who's got the most power?
He's coming back.
Letzman is flying right now.
Wow.
It looks like Letzman's going to be the one to do it. Lacoste, looking at his speed, he's spun out. He's given up the sprint. It's going to be Letzman who comes across the line. Very nicely done. Let's see who's going to get third here. It's James and Philip. James has dropped his aero. That is going to help him massively right now. And it looks like it's going to be James who gets third place on the day. Well done, James. Solid podium there. And let's just hop on over to see where Simon is in the Ds. And then we can... we'll switch between the women racing and the D riders. Simon's off the front currently. I think there's a for the other categories, bit more of a time trial kind of scenario going on. You know, Simon's pretty much walked away with this, so not much racing for us to watch, but give him a bit of screen time before we switch over to the women.
Yeah, maybe James, if he has his microphone on, he can give us his post-race summary and report.
You can, James. Feel free to jump in.
Yeah, very curious to see how the tactics went. What was the strategy on the climb when you had a little gap and stuff like that?
Or not. Maybe
or not.
He could be dying right now.
He's right there.
Sorry, lost control of my upper body.
That's fine. So tell us what was going on in that climb, because at some point we thought you were closing the gap, but
to be fair,
what happened?
In my head, obviously, tried to split items, but quite effectively managed to drop no one because they all caught back up again, which is a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
But nobody seemed to want to work with any pace on the front. It was a bit of a long way to go on your own, so I thought I'd take the volcano tempo going up the first half and kick on, and just as Randy went past and latched onto the back of him, we just didn't work together. Me and Philip on stage, if we'd time trialed as I suggested, we might have had a chance, and then we sort of got to about 1.5 kilometres away, and we're not catching them. So it's just work out the best tactics podium, but I'm a bit gutted there. I was hoping to be win, but that volcano climb for me, but I can get dropped quite easily. And sadly out. So absolute chapeau to Randy. He was really, really good, and Sebastian's been strong all through the championship. So congratulations to him for the win. And yeah, it's been enjoyable. Oh.
Great. Well, I don't know about enjoyable. I guess it's enjoyable in inverted commas there. You did get the gap down. It was only, I think, you got it down to about 6 seconds. So it really did seem like you were going to bring it back when we were watching from the live stream. Just on that little, the last bit of the climb, we could just see you two behind the lead group. And it really looked like maybe you're going to bring it back. And then just as they got to the bridge, heading towards, I guess, the main part of Watopia, the gap seemed to spring out again. And before we got to the final descent, little mini descent, it'd gone up to 9 seconds. So it's amazing how those gaps can kind of close down, and you're almost back, and then suddenly it balloons up again. So that must have been really annoying for you, I guess, to be so close to bringing it back and then it goes out again. I mean, I've been there myself. I know how desperate you feel, like you're so close but so far.
Just needed a bit of help. We had an extra rider, effectively a ball at about 6 watts, and I just needed a quick breather. So we needed just to keep that momentum up, and we didn't. So they just opened it up again. And by that point, I've been trying to react too late, unfortunately. They got planning to, so they got the tactics right. I didn't, the little buggers.
All right. Well,
congrats, James. That was a very nice race. I have to go, but thanks, Reese, for setting this up. Good job, James. It was good to see you, Neil, and everyone who raced today and yesterday. Very well done. Congrats.
Awesome. Thanks for joining, Francis. And yeah, well done to James. Good effort. You got on the podium, so still something to be proud of. That third place will never disappear on your Zwift power. So
yeah, it's not first.
I know it's not the crown which you were looking for, but third place, not to
blame the wheel. I blame. I'll have a chat with.
I guess maybe that's what happened to Dan as well.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to hop on over and catch some more of the racing from the women. I can see that we've got Vicky here, who's just heading onto the bridge, and I think that she's going to possibly stay all the way away. She's got 8 seconds currently in the race. Well, 6 seconds. It's going to make. This is it now for Amy. She's going to win in the sprint. Dan Pan suddenly appeared. What's that all about? Dan Pan's hopped in. He's going to help me call the women's B race across the line. Well, Amy's closed the gap now. 3 seconds on Beaver. So, whoa, is it going to be enough, that gap? I mean, Amy's done an amazing job here to bridge across. And it's going to be a very interesting sprint here. But Beaver's now up at 4 watts per kilo. Amy's going to have to respond. She's got to close this now. This is crunch time for Amy here. And yeah, very interested to see how is it going to break down. Dan, seeing as you joined.
She can get 4 seconds.
4 seconds. Who's going to get this? Is Amy going to be able to bring it back?
How closely is Beaver watching?
Yeah, well, it's gone up to 5 seconds now. So, see, she might have done enough. However, anything can happen. If Amy's been saving a massive sprint here, if she's got an aero power up, 5 seconds is nothing. Amy's doing more watts per kilo behind, but well, I don't know. It's going back and forth, back and forth. The gap's now 6 seconds. Maybe it's all said and done. The same thing pretty much happened for James. He'd clawed back some of the time to just 6 seconds before heading onto this little descent. But then it suddenly went out again. So I think this is going to be it. I think we're going to be crowning Beaver as the champion. Unless suddenly Amy springs out of nowhere, but I'm not seeing any orange numbers behind. Oh, and Beaver did have an aero power up, so she's using it now. She is pumping out a few more watts to the finish. She's finishing strong. Look at that. Out the saddle. Bang. Nice job indeed. And Amy's just watched her go over the line, and she's going to come across in second. Wow. Tantalizingly close there.
So hard to watch from that close.
Yeah, that sucks. Dan, I'm just waiting it 1 second. I'm going to swap over and let's just see who is closest to the finish. Okay, we're gonna stay here, and then we'll swap over and see how the C women are doing. Dan, how was that race? It looked like you were constantly going back and forth from the group. Ike said in the commentary booth that you were possibly a little late to react. Is that how it felt for you, or what was going on in for you in that race?
It seemed like they were taking turns throwing out attacks, and yeah, the one on the volcano was just too much, and The two of them had arrows at the same time on the flat bit, and I had a feather, and I couldn't hang them on the flat, and I thought it maybe I would bring it back coming up over the top, but it's just so hard watching them just a handful of seconds away and just watching them float away on the descent with two of them together.
Yeah, it looked tough. I mean, on Titan's Grove, they opened up a bit of a gap to you, but you did really well to respond. But I did wonder if you had to burn like a match that maybe you didn't want to on that part of the race.
Yeah, Titans, I think it seems to be my MO to not be able to hold that high wattage that they do, but then I can usually come over the top on the shorter climbs. But then when it gets to be over 5-6 minutes with the volcano, that I can't really do it the same way anymore, especially just after the repeated efforts.
Yeah.
So I felt okay about coming back on Titans, but yeah, I was done in on volcano for sure.
I mean, Titans for me is it's a funny climb. The way that you went up it, I suck on that side. I'm much better going up the other way. So it's really funny how the climb can be so different. I guess it's a little bit. It's the same with the Epic Com, right? Epic Com reverse, I suck at, but the normal way, it's got 3 sections, and I can break it up in my mind, quite nicely. So yeah, it's funny how that is with those types of climbs.
And it was a weird one because, a lot of times I'll climb Titans Grove and the racers will just go from the bottom and just go hard the whole way up. This race, I think because we've raced each other, before, we kind of know what our strengths are. They were not going the whole way. They were picking moments to attack instead. So, it was a tricky one.
Yeah, definitely.
I think I spent more time in this race looking at the power numbers on the side versus a normal race with a big group. I was just staring at those numbers, waiting for somebody to jump.
Yeah, it was good. There was some really good racing today, and I think this was the perfect course. There were loads of opportunities to attack, to drop some riders. So good job on Niels for picking, I think, good courses for the type of racing we want to see, especially with small groups. So well done to Niels as well for that part, as well as the wider organization.
Yeah, good choices.
By the way, Dan, what do you think of James's tribute wall of tires?
Let's see. Is he up for competition?
I don't know. Let's just quickly like. That actually makes it harder to see the wheels. But James, any reaction from you there? You obviously wanted to make this tribute to Dan. Why was that? What inspired you?
Well, he got. I remember watching the bar, and so I vaguely commented on his wheels as well. I think it's a chase race, wasn't it? We picked on Dan a little bit for his wheel of walls as celebration. So I thought it was an opportunity to emulate that. I've got another one down here.
Nice.
In fact, I seem to have significantly more wheels than bikes, so we might have to have a bit of a sale. So if anyone wants any wheels,
All right, we just watched Carolina come over the finish line there as well. Good job from her. And we're just watching the Sea Women come in as well. So sorry, they just happened to finish just as we started chatting to you. Bostrom Giles here, just going to come over for second place. And then we will switch over to Jill, who just let the gap open up there near the finish. So she's going to finish 20 seconds back. But a really nice bit of racing there from the Sea Women. Let's just watch as she comes across the finish line, and then we'll hop on over to Jill. There we go. And Jill's just on the finishing stretch. Cool. Sorry, I interrupted you there just to catch that final bit of racing. Give Jill a ride on. And I love that. I love that headband, the map one. Super cool. And there you go. She's over the finish line, and then nauseating spinning.
Nice.
There we go. Nice. Really great job from everybody there. Let's just take that off, and then we can just have all of us lot on the screen. So sorry, I interrupted. Let's talk wheels briefly. What did you say, James? I just missed the end of that.
I'm just going to say I have way more wheels than I need, so I probably do need to put the clear out. So
did you have to take some wheels off of bikes essentially unnecessarily to create this tribute?
Which is a worry, because I've also got another.
Okay, that is a worry.
Turn the camera around. I've got another 2 ceiling and a set of carbon wheels knocking around on the floor. And to be fair, I've only got 3 bikes, so there's sets of wheels per bike. So I need to have a word with myself.
Well, I think you do. Dan, reaction?
It's a lovely tribute. Let's see. I've got 2 bikes in the room, not including my smart bike, and I've got an old pair of wheels and a spare pair of wheels. So you might be beating me on the number of extra wheels you've got there.
Wow, I did not see that coming. That's unprecedented.
Didn't help. I think the amount of wheels doesn't translate to the amount of watts when you need them going up a plumbing climb. Back to the drawing board.
Well, maybe you had to put some lightweights on behind you.
There you go.
That was the secret. That was the secret. All right. Thank you both, James and Dan, for joining, giving us your live streaming, showing off your wheels in the background. Great racing by the both of you. Neil, thank you very much for joining as well in the chat. You've had a few connection issues, so you've been in and out, but it's been super good to have you joining in. Any final thoughts before we go, Neil?
No, just really enjoyed it. Shame I couldn't race, but hopefully my arm's on the mend. So, but well done to everybody. It's been really fun to watch.
Cool. And if you need Neil to respond to you, please bear with him. I think he's only got one arm, so it must be a nightmare on Discord. I guess you're probably all right. If it's only your collarbone, you can still type. But hopefully you'll be fully healed soon and back to your full fitness. So thanks again to everybody who watched the live stream, everybody who raced. This was our inaugural Coalition Championships. We've seen some great racing, some really close sprint finishes, which has been really, really cool to see. And we will do a final check of all of the results, and you will soon see a post or an update in the trophy cabinet, and I'll put something in the announcement to announce who our Coalition champions are. And then if you see anybody in Discord who has a little crown next to their name, you'll know that they are a Coalition champion. And I could just see, sorry, I've got to bring this comment in. Aaron, a bit late. I don't know if Aaron's just woken up. He's just put who won. So I guess you didn't watch the stream, Aaron. Aaron, check on Discord. You will see who won. But we did see some epic races there. Super cool. And Mark, Niels is very kindly updating him. And every time I try and click on the one I want to close, he types another message. There we go. Okay, so we're going to head off. Again, thanks, everyone. I think we had a few hiccups, a few technical difficulties, but otherwise I think it was a very successful championship. Thanks again to Niels for helping to organize everything. I know it definitely wasn't easy. And also for the guys who helped out with doing some of the race org behind the scenes, Matthias and Susan. They really appreciate that. And everybody who hopped on and helped with the stream as well. Really cool. So otherwise, I will bid you all adieu. And we'll see you again in a year's time, or possibly a little bit under a year's time, for the 2025 edition. Otherwise, we'll see you in the racing for the Zwift Racing League and the DRS coming up starting next week. And I will catch you all soon. Thanks a lot for joining as I slowly head over to my outro music. Perfect. There we go. All right. See you later. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Ciao for now.